Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Human Design Geeks podcast, a podcast on everything life through the lens of the human design system. We get together every week, putting our hearts and minds together in service of the collective awakening. Joined in our passion for this beautiful and profound knowledge, our intention is to educate, bring awareness, and trigger a meaningful change in anyone sincerely looking for it. And we do our best to make this knowledge digestible and relatable. So thank you for joining us, and let's dive right into it. Enjoy. Today, we are building up on the very basics, the very important basics of the human design system. Ra Uru, the founder of the human design system, always says, this knowledge is so complex, but it all always, and in always comes down to the strategy and authority. And these two tools are practical and very learnable and applicable. So we've just covered in the previous two episodes our aura types and the strategy of each aura type. Today, we're getting into the second most important tool, and it's inner authority. Why is this tool so important? Well, because we are headed in the age of individuality, and the human design system is here to help us get our power back, our inner authority back, to make our own insight-based decisions for our lives that are correct for us. That's why I'm so stoked to dive into the inner authority episode. Guys, you go. I want to learn. By the way, I've learned, obviously, I've learned about my strategy and authority, but I realized there's so many authority types, inner authority types that I have not heard about. And I'm like, tell me about that. And he's tell me about that. But no, let's dive into let's maybe start with the generators, because again, the biggest, largest group of the population are the generators. So maybe let's start from there.
Well, that's okay, but we need already make a division because when you are a generator, you can also be an emotional generator, which means you have another authority than your sacral. So that is already like a complication there. But a great introduction, Marta. That was a beautiful set, and maybe it's good to just like start with authority. To you explain it actually already very well. Like it's called like authority, inner authority, and I think the inner is a pretty important small between before word, because the authority is indeed your decision making tool. Like inside your body is doing have so many reactions on so many things, but you have this innate inner authority which already does not everybody has an inner authority in a way that you can be very open and don't have an inner authority, and but still you can use your authority. So we're going to talk about it, but it is your decision making tool. And if you just use your strategy, which we talked on like the previous episode, we have two episodes of it. Just go watch it if you didn't watch it, because your aura has a kind of strategy how it works. And then in that you have this authority when you know you make your decisions. And if you follow these two steps, Ra was saying you don't need to know anything about human design. If you know these things, you will live your design, you will live your true, authentic life, and you will be fine for the rest of your life.
Live your purpose.
It's going to your purpose. Yes, your
Yes.
purpose will be worked out at the most best way. You are here, and yeah, so that is indeed authority. And we can I don't know, Juju, if you want to also say something about just authority as a general thing.
Well, well, first of all, also Marta, what a great intro. Wow, thank you. And of course, Willie, always magical, getting lost into your easy explanation of everything. And the only thing, how human design really influenced me is to trust my own inner authority specific to my design and play with it and test it and trial and error and realize, I don't need to ask for other people to tell me what I should do, what's correct, but I can really trust myself and then, respect people's opinion and take it for what it is or their, but then really trust and navigate from this inner place, and then removing resistance. So that's,
Beautiful.
yeah.
So let's dive into that. Yamarda, you suggest to do generators because I think you meant the sacral authority.
No,
Um,
and
oh, okay. Sorry, but
for
it's
wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think
yes.
that's what I think I know, that there are authorities, kinds of inner authorities that are not innate sort of for to generators. I feel like I can only see projectors with this weird authorities that I've never heard of. Like,
So maybe we can first thing is list all the inner authority types.
okay.
I
Willie,
think.
since you are our expert into everything.
Oh wow. Well, well, at least to say, maybe it's good because we're definitely gonna have a second part of this also. Maybe it's good. I would say to talk about the three main biggest authorities we have, and because that will be a lot of people in the world. I don't know how much the percentage is, but I think it will be around 70 or 80% of all the people will have or an emotional solar plexus authority, or it will have a sacral authority, or it will have a splenic authority. These three things are the most common authority. So probably when you put up your design, you get your design somewhere online, you can get it. Probably one of these three things will stand with authority. And maybe for me, we can go start with sacral, but I think the most powerful authority is the emotional authority, and it is already the most complex authority. So maybe we can start off there because I think we will be talking for ages from there. And then we
Yeah.
can
Any
get,
questions?
yes, I mean, it's amazing. And we have an emotional authority in the midst. So we have, I don't know who's looking behind him. It's not, but so Juju, maybe it's good to get out and design, and maybe yeah, you can get your own if you want because you have this emotional authority if you want to show yourself and not afraid to
So
be naked.
not
First,
I'm never afraid to be naked. But before we dive
Yes,
into me as I want to share something with you that uh,
it's important. Maybe it's
that
good
it,
to also talk like that we are still growing as a species, like a Homo sapien, right? So, and a lot of us, of people, we are still living in this seven-centered being, but we actually already a nine-centered, which is the emotional center, which is there. And what I mean with that is that the problem we have still today is that we do a lot with the mind. So we we make decisions with here, with the thinking mind, and actually, that is not the right place where you make true, authentic decisions of yourself. So maybe, so that is a good distinction to learn. But we will definitely get there in the mind space because, oh my God, we are so minded, and we also want to make the decisions from the mind. What are you going to show us? Oh, there it is. Look at
almost
this.
60% of people are emotional solar plexus authority.
46%, right? That's a lot.
46% are emotional people setting up the emotional tone. Second biggest is sacral. It's
Yes.
you guys,
Yes.
35%. So that's 70, that's already like 70, 80% nearly.
80%. Yes. 90%. You see how much? Yeah.
Then splenic. So that's for the projectors only, right? Splenic.
Yes, you cannot be a generator and be splenic. Well, you can
Sir,
be splenic though, but it's not your authority then.
Splenic
Yeah,
manifest.
Splenic manifestors, yes, you can have splenic manifestors.
splenic manifestors. Oh yeah,
Yes.
because they're
Yeah,
coming
yeah,
from the roots. Okay, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Then you have ego, less than 1%. Self-projected, that's definitely projector. My niece is a self-projected.
That's
ego
interesting.
projected, which would be like the 25. If you have the 2551 only, or not connected to the throat, not connected to the sacral, and none. This is interesting. None is the reflectors, right?
Uh-huh.
And here it's about 3.5%. And
I
normally,
I don't know if Ra also the mental projectors. I think Ra also means none.
okay, okay.
Yeah, because it's soundboarding, but we will get there in part five.
So I just wanted to share this to give a sort of an idea of all the main inner authorities.
But I think Marta, you're very interested, of course, in the different kind of authorities. But I think it's very good to start with the most easy ones, or like the most. Uh, Otherwise, you will get lost in
And
all of
that's why
them.
let's start with me. Yes, I'm
Yeah,
easy.
Well,
the
that's
most
that's not
amount of
you.
people
That's
on
not
earth
you.
emotional.
Oh, that's not me.
That's me.
Choo choo.
Oh,
So
that's me.
yeah, there he is. Okay, so let's start with the emotional authority. So first of all, if you see your design, it is all dependent on the right triangle, and it's brown when you have it in your design. If that's colored in brown, so if that has a color, so if it's white, you're not emotional there. But if you have it colored in, that means you have an emotional authority. Always, 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 always. Because the emotional motor is the strongest of all, so it will override anything. So, for example, if you are a manifesting generator or a generator and you have your sacral, the red, Julian doesn't have it, but you have the red square in the middle, and you also have on the side the brown triangle, you're still are emotional, even though the sacral is this very, powerful energy which responds on life and wants to renew itself. It is the emotional, and that is, I mean, I'm very happy that I'm a sacral generator because a generator is fast. I mean, even if you're a manifesting generator emotional, that is like already this because you're fast, you're responding, but you need to take time for your decision. So maybe we can dive into, and Juju, I think you have to make the first step to talk about the emotional authority, and you are an emotional authority, and explain us how it is to be this sensitive feeling person who always needs to wait for their decision. Tell us how it is to be an emotional being.
Ah, how is it to be emotional? It's full of, it's this ability or this need to look at things from a lot of different perspective. Because as an emotional person, I'm going through motions, and sometimes I'm feeling super high on the emotions, and sometimes I'm feeling low, and then you recognize it very well. And in that process of going high and low, I can see like any decision from many different angles and perspectives, and it gives me sort of the need to have depth in everything to make a correct decision. So after the storm of the waves, of the chaos of like doubt, and then if the mind is in the middle trying to make sense of it, you get exhausted. And I find that after many years of trial, of experimenting, that when I'm feeling really high now, I'm like in my head, I'm like, oh, it's gonna come down. And sure enough, the next day or next hour, I'm like down. And when I'm down, it's like, it's gonna go up. And sure enough, when I detach myself, it's like I go back up. So it's like it gives, yeah, emotion depth. Like it's never so easy. It's never so clear yes, clear no, clear yes, like as I imagine you people with a sacral can navigate so easily, but out of hardscape comes so much wisdom and depth.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
Beautiful.
that's me.
That's you, yeah. That's so beautiful. So yeah, so to maybe explain for people who have it, because you have you know it yourself, of course, Juju. So it is very important when you have an emotional awareness is that you need to take time for your decisions. What Juju was saying, because the thing is, you need to get more clarity because you always are on the wave. And Marta, you and I, we don't know how it is to be like, we are very open and empathetic and we can feel like a lot of emotions and we don't want conflict, we want to get rid of it. But for Juju, when he's sitting alone there in Kuala Lumpur on his couch or whatever, there's always like a buzz in himself, like going like Orla, going low, like melancholy, and going up like high, like happy, like joy, and it's always doing this. So when you are this person, and I would love to say to people who are listening to this, because I've helped so many emotional people. I know so many emotional people who are on meds to don't feel because they don't understand that it is a natural thing for them and it has nothing to do with circumstances or with what people are saying to you. It is a natural cosmos thing which is always there. You cannot get rid of it, so it will always be on the wave. And if you get friends with it, and that's how I mean, I don't know how it is to be an emotional being, but if you get friends with it, I can see that I'm sometimes jealous at how deep you can feel the world as an emotional being, because I will never have that kind of awareness of it. Um, but I can also think somewhere it is maybe tough. But if you understand it truly, and it's not something that has to do with, that person said that to me. Oh, now I feel low, or I don't get that job, or I'm not being seen as a projector, and you go in the low. And I think you maybe can, but you can relate on that. But maybe you can make it worse. But it's not. It is a natural thing. When you're on your low, it is just because you're on your low. It has nothing to do with anything else. It's a natural way of thing. And if you want to make decisions for yourself, you can, for example, if somebody comes to you, so for Juju as an example, I would say to Juju, oh, you're great and oh, you're beautiful. Can you help me with this? The projector is seen, recognized, invited. And he is also now he's on his high and he's like, yeah, I want to do it. And he immediately is going to do it probably a couple hours later or maybe the next day, and he's thinking, oh my god, I promised this to him and I don't know because I don't feel now, I feel differently, and oh, and now I need to see no. And then you can come in this space where you're not very clear still about your decision. That's why it's important, and that's what I always say to emotional people: sleep over it. Sleep a night. Sleep at least a night over it. So when you have the decisions, so like, oh, thank you for this invite. Oh, I'm very happy that you see me. Let me feel about it. I will come back to you tomorrow, maybe next day. And then the next day you're down and you're like, I don't know. And then you get in, you're up again. And then at some point you have more clarity about the decision. And I don't know, maybe Juju, you can explain it, but Ra was explaining it as just a short moment where you're lying in the lake between the mountains, that you have this feeling of like clarity, like, yeah, I want to do it, or no, this is not for me. And it is like a small window of this feeling that it is right. And I don't know how it is because Marta and I were just knowing immediately in the sacral yes or no. But can you describe that, Julie? Do you know this is kind of a thing?
It's a moment of like when you're not attached to it, not either way, and it's like, yeah, yeah, it's no, I have to go. I have to, oh yeah, this I'm gonna go to, like, for example, a relationship. When you connect, when you meet somebody, and of course sleep on it, it doesn't mean sleep on her, but take the time, and because and that's a perfect example. When I meet somebody and I'm like all excited, I'm like, oh wow, like I'm in love, like, and then if you consume that love and then afterwards you're like, ooh, hold on, maybe this is not correct, and then you have to be like very clear. But that clarity is at a moment of peace. There's no internal pressure, external pressure. And if there is, then wait longer and then just like, oh yeah. And then in that clarity, and you feel guilty, maybe I feel guilty sometimes because I feel like, oh my God, maybe I promised or I showed that I wanted. And then but in that clarity, then the mind sort of comes to work with you and just says like, and then you have an authentic response. Yeah, sorry, I don't. This is not what I feel is correct for me. And then there's no judgment. There's not like, oh, because you did this or because you say that,
True.
uh, and then there's no. It's not like a ah or like ooh. It's more like a oh. I'm
You
trying to speak like you guys, generators, but there's some.
No, but it's
I'm
great. It's great to
I'm
have.
tr I'm translating generator term speak.
Jen Slater.
Gen- I'm translator. That's a great. Oh wow.
So Marta, how do you feel about the emotional? Do you have like questions about it? Is there something
Oh my God. The story of my life. I think you guys helped me realize that my mother was an emotional being.
mm,
Me being a completely open
yes.
emotionally, that was a hell of a ride. And what I'm thinking about listening to you is how important it is to understand what you were talking about, Willie. It has nothing to do with you. This is your genetic makeup. That's how it is. It has nothing to do with anything. And I was wondering, and if you don't understand it, that was my question to you, Willie. Um, Based on your coaching practice with emotional beings, what potential confusion and problems can arise from not understanding that this has nothing to do with you?
What problems can arise?
Yeah.
Well, what I see now, but you can see it in the world. I think, I mean, we're changing as a human being, as a race, as evolution, and we have this whole social media, the iPhone, the telephone, like all the digital stuff, and so we have so many, how do you say? I don't know the English word, but like all these
Stimuli.
stimuli, like these things, and I see so many young people, like young adults, are on meds to don't feel or to make it, like neutralize and I can imagine that, when you have this emotional being and you have to be in this fast world because an emotional being is not fast. It is not a spontaneous thing in the now. It has to take time. And, I see all these manifesting generators being emotional on these jobs, making decisions in the moment. And that is actually pretty, and I can imagine. So what I see in practice is that they think it's all about them, or they feel, and like they need to be, like fast and make decisions, and then they're like, next day, and what Julie was saying, I feel guilty, or like, oh, did I promise this, or oh, now I'm in this and I need to fix it, and like, whew, like all these, instead of just saying, I understand this, let me feel through it, I will come back tomorrow. And if that is like a structural thing in yourself, you will see how it will change your life completely, and you will be have way less interactions which you say yes on, or what you say, or you say promise to. So everybody is like way less, like especially with manifestors, like angry, or frustrated as generators, or bitter as a projector. All these things will lower down because you are you, and you say like, I understand, let me wait through it. But I mean, do this in the world where we are living now, right? Everything is so fast. It is so fast. And that is, yeah, a learning thing how we can do that, right?
Find
And
you.
and
Yeah, Juju.
oh sorry, and I have Marta's chart, completely open, solar plexus, the emotion. And the other side of the coin, I'm feeling, I'm doing my thing, I'm but on the other side, you and Willie, you absorb and amplify that energy from me, for example.
Yep.
So now I'm curious, for to people who have emotional, how does that feel for you guys? Because how can you, because you can really feel where I am with my emotions. I mean, Willie always like is like, oh, you feel like this, blah, blah. And so how is it for you? Because that's maybe what the other people who have open emotions can really learn from.
This is actually headed pointing a little bit in the direction of my question for Willie, where I was thinking about the problems that can arise relationally, interrelationally,
Mm-hmm.
with the people who don't understand their biological makeup and that they are an emotional being or they are a non-emotional being. And remembering my relationship with my mother being so stormy and turbulent, and me just feeling it all, and her maybe not understanding her waves and storms and going through stuff, that can be very, like, that can bring a real damage to a relationship, and I think it takes awareness and full total personal responsibility for your own emotions,
Mm-hmm.
in order for your life and for your relationships to thrive.
True. I think that's true. So I think one thing to note on this is, but it's my personal meaning, my personal opinion is that I always hated the non-emotional word, because it is called you are emotional, so you are close, like it's brown, or you are non-emotional, which is with you, Marta, and with me, like, but non-emotional sounds like like if you're non-emotional, right? But to be honest, people who have the emotions open, like White, also like me, this is me. So when you have it open, uh, I always call it the Romeo and Julia emotions, which I mean with, when Romeo heard that Julia died, and that he thought she was dead, and like he's like, Julia, like, wow, like this. That is an open emotion. That is not a closed emotion. That is open, amplifying emotions. And so people who are open emotion can be very emotional. I would even say they are way more exaggerating emotions than an emotional being is. So if I met a person who is like always a little bit like Juju, he's sitting there in his chair, he's nodding, he's like feeling it through. It has more length in it, and we are Marta, we are like, pop, 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 pop. Oh, I feel this. And Juju, to have your question, because you asked like how it is to feel for us, I don't like, still on this day, even though I know that the emotions come through me and it is not me, I still cannot, it is still not for me an easy place to be around a lot of emotional beings or to feel that emotion coming through, because I always call the birthday as an example. You coming on this birthday, you come in the room and you're like, whoa, there's happening so much in this room. Everybody is doing happy, like, birthday, birthday. And I feel like this person is sad, this person is, and like I'm like always, whew, and I want to fix it. That's the thing. So I always want to get rid of it. I want to don't have the conflict about it. So that's why open emotions are always like, they don't want the conflict, but what we want to get rid of the feeling. So we want to get rid of it. So we always like, when I was always around emotional beating, I was always like talking, are you feeling okay? Do you need this? Oh, you need some water? Or you like to just to get to get the emotions going up again. But that's not I mean, now I know, oh yeah, this is not me. And that's what you say, Marta, being responsible for yourself. If you know this, then now I know, okay, this is not me, and I can just feel it, and you can feel it. My very best friend, he is super super emotional. Like, he has almost every line coming out of the emotional center. I've been with him on holidays a lot, going to Sri Lanka 3 weeks together, and always waking up. He was always waking up in this, low thing, and I always thought, oh, he thinks something is wrong. He don't like the place. Did I say something yesterday? All these things, and now I know that it's not me, and he's just being in this low energy, low down, and just leave him be. And in a couple of hours, and then always like around 11 o'clock, and then he was like talking, and he was, like being this up again, and I was like, okay, everything is going well again. But still, to have that feeling in, I can immediately feel it now in my body. It is not a feeling which I still have an easy thing with. So it's not that I'm still like, okay, I know this now, I know all this, how it works, but it doesn't make it like go away, or like I still need to be busy with it and digest it. So that is how I would explain juju for you, like being open emotions.
Yeah. Well, that was a great insight, guys. And I want to carefully bring us back to the actual topic of emotional authority.
Uh-huh.
So that was a great insight. And so I have a question for you. I don't know, Juju, maybe you want to give an eloquent answer on this one, because I've learned, I didn't know, I've recently learned that there are four types of emotional waves for emotional people. And so each person has sort of different combination of waves for their emotional authority. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Four types or three types?
Three.
Is
Three.
it?
Yeah, but I think they call the 59.6. It is a different channel which is has it has all of the three kind of in itself. So I think maybe that is called the fourth, but there are three different waves we know actually, how we learned
Hey,
it.
platform says that there's four. That's where I got it from. So I don't know. You talk to me about it because this is new to
Okay.
me.
So, for example, here so we're talking about the stream, the tribal, the individual, and the collective stream. So the 1949, 3740, these are tribal. Also, technically, 59.6 is also tribal, but this emotional wave it goes like this. It builds up, tribal. It's like, oh, he did something, it builds up, and then at some point it's just like, it booms. So
Mm.
it's like something brewing, you're in a relationship, he's like, yeah, but like he brews and that, and then at some point you blast out like, you did this to me like 2 months ago and 3 months ago and da 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 da. And then it resets. And of course, the other one just deals with the emotional, like 3 months ago, 2 months ago, and then but you feel much better.
Good for
That's
you.
what, yeah, yeah. I know, right? I know, right? And then the second stream is 3955, 2212, of which I have one activation here. And that's more like it's the voice, it's like individual. So it's like calm, and then it's like and then calm again. But you cannot control when it's calm, and it can go like intense up or intense down. And if your mind goes in it and tries to surf that wave, not good. It will be exhausting. And then the third one, it's visual, it's the collective, it's about sharing 41, 30, 36, 35. And that how would you describe this one? It's like
It's a little bit the same as the first one, kinda, but it's about it's more like down immediately. So it's like experimental. So this is all about experimental emotions, like how do you feel, like expectations, like so the I don't know the word of it, but you have like it falls down as what's the word when you're not dissatisfied, but like more like I don't know the English word.
sad
Yeah,
or
like sad, no, but you're like disappointed, like you
disappointed.
expectations. You have a lot of expectations in this, so you build up the expectations, and then at one point it isn't there, and it just drops down. So where the first one explodes, the other one it's just dropping down. So you have immediately like this disappointment, like poof, like I had all these, I want all these experimental way in my life. I wanted this, I wanted that. I have that dream, I had that vision and all these things, and it doesn't happen up, like it falls down as an emotional wave.
And the funny thing is, the transit today has that 35, 36 full down. And
And
and that's what we talked about earlier.
it's maybe it's good to say about it because this is a couple months ahead transit.
Yeah,
That's what
two
we
almost
all
2 months,
are
I guess.
experiencing.
Yeah, we're all emotional beings for all the 2 months, every person in the world. Good luck.
And
So that's
especially these days, like I've heard you, Marta, but also other people say like they wake up and they're like, of course, I'm trained in the emotional wave, so I'm a hard, I'm a expert level in emotion, so it doesn't phase me. But for the untrained soul like you two, it can be like, oh my God, what's happening? Ah!
yeah, it feels really weird. And I told you yesterday, I know like
Oh,
And meanwhile, I'm like, yeah, same, different day. It
yeah.
goes up, it goes down, you know.
so
Uh,
you see how complex the emotional system is. So for Newford to learn as an authority, it's just good to learn that you need to take time for your decisions, even though which wave you are. So for Juju, he knows for him the wave of touch. Actually, it's also about touch, right, Juju? So interesting thing when children has this channel like the 1949 or maybe the 4037. What you see, because when you are touched, so when you're literally touched, like touched, it is for a lot of people when they have this channel, they can explode a little bit when they are touched, because when they have this all this build up emotions, and that's why a lot of children, when they don't learn, when they have this channel and they don't learn that is safe, that they are being touched, they will have this tendency of when parents are want to cuddle their child or want to, they have a tendency to get out of it because they cannot handle the emotions which are happening. So that is also maybe a very interesting point to take for if you have children with this or maybe yourself. That is very important for them that they learn that it's safe, that they're what they feel when they are touched, because they can release it also. Because Juju, you say you can explode, but the way of touch is also the releasing of the emotions in a healthy way, right?
And I just want to say that out there, like I'm already trained. I like to be touched. So any ladies out there that would like to touch me,
Thank you, Juju. Thank you for this. No,
really?
but it.
You invite everybody so openly?
not everybody, but like
About that.
where I'm open, like an emotional projector
Yes.
is like a teddy bear,
But also the 4990 is it's about sensitivity, right? It is you're so sensitive
sensitive teddy bear.
sensitive teddy bear, yeah. But it can also go the other way around. So it can also be that this person will be when it's touched, it's like it feels so much because it's like it there's so much emotions in the body that they not can handle the touch.
Again, I can handle. Just putting it out there, I can handle.
Yes,
I'm
great.
willing to explore, to experiment. I'm here.
Thank you, Juju. So yeah, so we talked about the emotions, and so that is an authority. So we talked about before, almost 50% in the world has an emotional authority, which are a lot of people. So maybe it's good to go to our next one, like the sacral, and that is you and me, Marta.
Oh boy, let's talk about us.
Well, you know what the funny about the sacral is? It is actually very pretty easy. And what I want to say is that Ra was always saying he wants to with this material he wanted to enlighten people, right? He wants to have like every person be enlightened. And he said I need to just start with sacral generators, sacral manifesting generators, because they are the most easy people to let them understand how they work, how the mechanic is working, because they immediately know, oh yeah, this is me. And so he was like, when he was starting this, he was like really onto the sacral generators. He wanted to enlighten every sacral generator because he thought if all these generators are enlightened and they understand, the whole world will change. And pretty much he came by that it wasn't that easy.
Exactly. Easy, but not easy, I wanted to say.
Yes, true,
Because
true.
I feel like, well, this is a life of flow and surrender where you don't think, you
Yes,
follow.
yes.
That's the hardest thing to do. Yes, you have the clear things, but your mind is so fast to come in and say, yeah,
Are you
but,
sure?
yeah, and how are you going to make your living out of this?
Yes.
Are you going to get satisfaction? Are you going to eat satisfaction?
No, it's true. No, it's true.
Gonna pay your rent with satisfaction?
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
but you're gonna touch it.
Well, that's the trust of the response. So we talked about like a first episode of the strategy. We talked about the generator aura, and we talked about responding, and that is the sacral. That is the red square. So if you have the red square and you don't have the emotional authority next to it, you are a sacral authority, which means, and actually, why I say it is easy. It is easy to get in touch with, and how you can do it is actually to have yes or no questions. So for generators to have open questions, for example, if my girlfriend would say, "What do you like to eat tonight?" That is like that's open. But if she would say like, "Do you want sushi tonight?" or "Do you like pizza?" In that yes or no, immediately you feel, and with a manifester, it's more like a feeling towards something. As for me, as a sacral generator, it's more the sacral sound. It is my throat. If you talk with me a lot, you hear me do a lot of doing this like uh-huh, mm-hmm, that is your truth. Your sacral sound, your yes or no, that is your sacral. That is your response. That is your authority. When you have the sacral authority, it is always about the uh-huh. Do you want this? Do you want to go to the movie with me? Uh-huh. Oh, you want to go to the Wicked movie premiere? No. You know what? This is the thing. So if we do this practice, Marta, so are you happy today?
Yeah.
Yes. Do you want to stay in Dubai?
Huh?
Do you want to get your own building there? You want to have your own house?
Hell yeah.
So these are all these things like just questions in the moment. And if you are in a relationship, like if you are two sacral generators in a relationship, this is funny because yes or no, it is super honest. If you are super honest with yourself and you know because you just know, there are some things where you actually want to say in a relationship, yes, but maybe it is actually no, right? But to be fully honest in this thing, that is the place. That is like, then you are in magic land because then you are truly. I mean, my girlfriend is a projector, so she knows already. But she knows, like, she like when she's like randomly asking me questions from the other room, like, you want to go get groceries, and then I'm like, nah. She already knows that I'm not in that space at that moment, so she can go on with it, and she can grab me out, and I will probably go with her because I love her. But that is not my path at that moment because I'm busy with something else, or I'm working with it something else, whatever. And this is the what you're talking about, like easy or not easy, Marta. It is, can you be so honest to yourself, or do you do the mind and say, yeah, it is also nice to go with the groceries with my girlfriend because I want to be nice, or I want to be polite, or I want to be blah, blah, blah. But actually, I was doing this thing and I'm in this thing now and I want to. And that's a small example, but this is all the time happening, right? I mean, don't know, Marty, if you can elaborate on how you would say this sacral is working for you.
No, 100%. I just realized as you're speaking about being so honest, I just realized as you questioned me,
Yeah,
um, I lied a little bit.
I
On,
saw you lied.
yeah,
Yes, I think it
on
was the
the
second.
Dubai question,
It was.
it was like,
I know. I saw it
that was
happening.
I don't know. That
I
was an I don't
I
know.
saw it. It was the second question, and you were
Yeah,
like doubting, and then you say yes
yeah.
because you're there. But this is the work. This is brutally honest. Now we're talking. I mean, when people see this, this is the sacral. This is true because, and you cannot. It's okay to have an uh huh. Because also, I mean, I love my girlfriend. I love her. I love her all my life. But sometimes when she asks, like, "Do you love me?" It's not in a moment that I'm saying, "Uh huh." It's not that I don't love her. I'm busy with other. I'm working with stuff. La la la. It is that it's not the case. But to be truly like say yes or no, that is. It doesn't have to do anything about the relationship, or like, and that is the honest thing. Like, if you're now feeling not being in Dubai, that doesn't mean you need to go out there, or it's just where you are now. You're still like figuring out. You're like, I don't know, mama. And that is the honesty. But it can be tomorrow, it can be like, yes, I'm on this, I want to be here, I want to stay here, or right.
Man, it was an I don't know because it wasn't a no.
No, 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 true, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a no, and so there are three kinds of them: a yes, a no, and
And
I
then
don't
they,
know, which means
yes,
ask me. Come back to this later.
come back to this later, yeah.
And yeah, So this is good. And I guess the little insight that I want to give that was important for me to understand, it wasn't, it's easy to hear like, yeah, so it's these questions, and I have to wait for the question sort of to come in to respond to. But hey, sometimes the response, sometimes it doesn't work as a question. It doesn't come in as a question. Sometimes it comes in, you're scrolling on a social media and you see an ad that advertises a trip to your dream place, and you're like,
Yes, true.
or you're reading a book and you literally go in the supermarket and maybe you're like, okay, what do I want to eat this? Nah. Do I want to eat that? So it's really everything that comes at you
True.
in life, relationally, and also everything that's would you like or not? That's the question. Information, possibilities, opportunities, people, relationships, and everything.
True.
That's an important clarification, I feel.
Absolutely. That was a pretty, thank you for clarifying because that is important. Because responding is a lot of things. It's not only yes or no questions, but it's also the bird flying, outside the window and you're like, oh, wow, beautiful bird, right? That's also responding stuff. So yeah, so find your authority and to find your authority, yes or no, like find where you light up from, find where your sacral is responding to, like, I want to read that book, or I want to talk to that person, or I feel, and you're like, where do you light up from? And if you follow that, yes, correctly, like almost all the time, you will be on your path, you will be on your place, you will be on your purpose,
Purpose.
as we talked about. And so yeah, that is the sacral response. And also interesting to talk about your sacral and my sacral, for example. It's not that our sacrals are responding on the same thing, yes or no, because my aura responds on being me, and I have other things where I get yeses from than for you, Marta. So that is also interesting to understand. That's also for Juju as a projector. He's invited for the things where he feels like, when he feels recognized and invited, it's his aura which makes a connection with something. So not all the projectors are recognized and invited in the same thing. That's also with the sacral response. For you, Marta, you probably go on with the correction and with, like where something is happening, in the rhythm of life, like being this creative role model, like all these things which you see, that's probably where you get onto. And for me, it's totally something else. It's like the details. It's like concentration, focus on stuff, like, so we're totally different where our sacral responds to. So that is for everybody different. So don't think when you are next to another sacral generator and that sacral generator feels yes, you can definitely feel no. That is totally
No, of
correct.
course, it makes sense because what Ra says, the more you follow your strategy and authority, the more your incarnation cross takes over. Your incarnation cross, for those who doesn't know the terms, it's your life's purpose. It's why your body, mind, your vehicle, your car, your avatar is here on earth for. So the more you just follow this, the more it takes over your lives and you start living your life on purpose, your
Yep,
specific purpose. So it's all logical that you won't respond to the things I would respond.
of course.
And I learned one interesting thing that I haven't heard before, that because I have a defined spleen and it's quite active as well. My teacher in the class that I'm taking on human design right now, she mentioned this thing, a splendidly informed sacral response. I was like, huh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
And it definitely works like that for me. My intuition's quite active, like my spleen's quite active. So my intuition's quite on point, strong, especially at this point of my life where I work towards moving to my design as opposed to the working from the conditioning, living from the conditioning. So my spleen, my intuition would inform my sacral. That's interesting. And I see that working in my life as well.
interesting. I would love that you ask your teacher, because to be honest, I would doubt that in your design, because your spleen is not connected with your sacral.
Mhm.
So you have a rooted spleen. So that means, I mean, what you understand is that you have an intuition and you have an awareness of being safe. And we talk about the spleen later, but like I think that is, so you are very intuitional. That's true. That is absolutely true. But I don't know if your spleen is like when they talk about a splenic sacral generator, they always talk about when the 50 and 27 are connected. So when the spleen is literally connected in some kind of way to the sacral, and you have it is not like connecting with each other all the time. But I'm curious about what your teacher will say
Yeah,
about that.
interesting because I mean, she was talking about it, and I sort of brought it up because I've never heard of it before, and she
Yeah,
didn't correct. She didn't
yeah, yeah.
say it wasn't the case for me. So it's
True,
interesting.
yeah. But you are a very splenic person. Oh my God, look at you. Almost all gates coming out of it. And so yes, you definitely have this very awareness there. So that is absolutely true. Um, So yeah, Juju, I want to before we go to the spleen, Juju, you have an open sacral. We talked about the open emotion, so maybe it's also nice to just tell shortly about the how it. I mean, we were talking here as sacral generators, and we were like la 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 la. But what is happening with you with this open sacral, and how do you say that works for you in how we talked about the emotions for us?
Well, it's a good question. Uh, how does it feel for me to when you're both? I can feel the energy. It's like, uh-huh, yes. What do you want to do? Uh-huh, uh-huh, yeah. So when I'm talking to somebody who's a generator, I ask yes, no questions. I try to, and then I get a sense. There's a difference between, I've observed that there's a difference between, hey, do you want to do this? Uh-huh, yeah, yeah, no, I want to do this, it's great. Versus, yeah, yeah, sure, I'll do it. Completely different. And
Yeah,
that one comes from the nuclear reactor, and one comes from like the mind trying to please somebody else.
absolutely. Yeah, which happened
But
with which happened a little bit with Marta to say about Dubai. Oh.
yeah,
Act
so
over here trying to act.
but but then on the other side, like when I'm surrounded by generators, I can feel so much energy, more energy, and I want to do more. I want to, I feel I can do more, but because of my experience now, I'm just like, hold on, do I really want to do this? And then, you know, let me think about it. Let me take some time.
Yeah,
So, and then I take my time, and then what was a super yes, or because I'm around you guys, huh, well, let me think more. Let me look into it. So that's yeah, that's me.
true. Yeah. So yeah, so we covered, I think, the sacral then. So you have the and what you also said, Marta, the maybe, yeah, the like more like I'm not there yet. I don't know yet. It's not a no or a yes. It's like the in between maybe. And I would also say extra for the manifesting generator. It's like this the pure generator is it's really the sacral. It's like the like truly that. But for the manifesting generator, it's also like I would describe your sacral, your body is going into something. Like when you're curious, you're like you feel you're drawn to the energy, or you have more like you feel in your because your sacral is here, right? It's like somewhere here. You have more like a push from something. I don't know if you know this, Marta. You have this.
Yeah. Oh, I just had an example of this yesterday when I went out to visit some companies, and it was an idea out of maybe I should do this, and then my body was like, "Mm, yeah, yeah, and
Yep.
then I went there, and sure thing, what happened? Turned out I found that they were closed for innovation, so I went for nothing.
Uh huh.
And then I was sitting there, and I was like, well, should I go to the other one? Because I was going to visit several. And then my body was like, and I was like, okay, I'm listening to this one.
Yeah. Yeah. True. Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise, good. Yeah. Good example. Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe to round up the episode, maybe we can or we round up here or we take the spleen. What do you guys think?
I think we should round up here because the spleen is specific now. Is like, yeah. See, she's responding.
Uh-huh. I was
Should we
also like
round up here? Should we
I
round
I,
up here?
I was doubting because I love talking about human design. I was like, yeah, let's talk more. But it's
Like logically, my mind comes in and I'm like, shall we cover emotions, sacral, and spleen? And then the little ones we cover in the next episode. And then I'm like, I don't know. I felt like emotion should be a whole thing on its own, and sacral should be a whole thing on its own.
Yes,
And then
great.
berries running out.
Oh. No, I think it's good. I think that this is already so value information, and I hope people who are listening to this they get something out. And we'll definitely, if your authority is not talked about yet, we will talk about it, even when you have some rare authority, because yeah.
So maybe to close it, we can all share, like, let's say, a piece of advice for the authority that is ours,
Hmm.
Yes, great.
to the people out
Oh,
there who are
you're the
struggling.
majority.
Yes. Maybe
Well,
Marta, you want to start, or Willie?
Hugo, you are the majority.
Okay, la. So let me look at the camera. To all the emotional people out there that are struggling, honor yourself means having patience. And in any big decisions, sleep on it. Not sleep on her, sleep on it.
Yes.
Okay, mic
Thank
drop.
you. Thank you, Juju. Thank you. No, but I mean, I don't know how it is to be an emotional being, but I think it's very, very valuable that you know that you're good as who you are and that you're beautiful and that you feel the melancholy and that melancholy is a natural thing for you and that doesn't mean outside something you said something different or worse to you or whatever. It's not, I mean, that also happens, but it's not that is not the feeling what is going on. So oh, I hope a lot of people will get something out of this as an emotional being. And for me, because I think Marta can do the last one, like for as a sacral being and as a sacral generator, because the sacral mengen is manifesting generators, maybe still also a little bit different. As a sacral generator, it is for me. It has a lot to do about um, the yes or no in the moment. And if you need to get to your gut feeling in the mealy yes or no feeling, and try to honor that completely. And that is difficult because you will figure out that sometimes you say yes to something where you already felt a little bit no, and the other way around. Don't blame yourself for doing that. Just see what's unfolding and see that you probably get some frustration in this, yes or no, which are not correct. But that's also life, and trust that is also a part of you. And just learn every day. It is a learning thing. You cannot do it immediately tomorrow. It is a learning thing. You need to take time, maybe years of time, to get with your sacral again and truly say yes or no. And if you do it and you trust me, did it a lot in my life now, so many beautiful things will come to your way which you not even thought of happening, because you were so truthful to the yes or no. And I did so many things when I was younger. I'm a yes sayer a lot, and so many yes things on which I shouldn't say yes on. And now I'm so more careful of the person who I am, having this beautiful relationship and family and work I love, and this thing what we do with each other here. Like my sacral is, I'm coming from the gym every morning, like on my bike fast to do this because my sacral is saying, yeah, we're gonna, talk with each other again. And at the moment that doesn't feel it anymore, I will say to you guys, and I will be honest to it, and that life will go. And so yeah, that will be my thing. And maybe Marta, you can make the last mic drop
Mic drop.
as a
Well,
sick.
no pressure.
Juju was making a mic drop.
Well, there's not that much more to add. Only, I mean, I would add for me, what was my experience of learning to follow my design. I call it really a path of surrender because it is a path of surrender in the world where we are so conditioned to think our lives as opposed to live and feel our lives. This was a huge challenge for me to develop the trust and to take these steps where my mind is screaming, you're crazy, what are you doing? And to trust that excitement, and to trust that response, to trust my body as opposed to trusting my mind. So for me, it's all about learning to honor self-love, really. The human design system is about self-love. And what is self-love? It's learning to honor, knowing who you are, learning about who you are. I am convinced to this day, and you cannot convince me otherwise. You cannot love someone you don't know. Starting with yourself. Get to know yourself. Learn about yourself, how you function, what you're made of. And then once you do that, it becomes that much easier to surrender to your instinct, to your nature. That's how you learn to trust it. That's how you learn to flow with it. That's how you surrender to it. That's how you create a life of beautiful flow and satisfaction as a generator, or success as a projector, and so on for other types.
That was a mic drop. Beautifully spoken. Beautifully spoken.
All
Well
right.
done.
We feel complete for today, and we have another episode next week. I am already pretty excited for that one, to learn about the ones that I have no idea about. I had no idea there's an ego authority. What? We will learn about it next episode. But for now, thank you so much for staying with us, engaging in this conversation. And please, 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 if there are questions that arise for you as somebody who's learning or listening about our conversation, or maybe there is a correction that's coming on your end to say, hold on, but are you sure? Please comment under the video. We appreciate your comments. We want your comments. We want to interact with you. We'll be happy to read those comments and bring them up and talk about them. So thank you so much once again. And we're wrapping this up with a huge gratitude, and see you later. Amen, aho, and om. See you next week.
Ciao.
Bye.